You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
So, Curtis.
Yep.
We got a lot to talk about tonight, my man.
So much stuff has happened. Like, oh my God, it's everything. But the first thing we have to say, happy Pride to everybody who celebrates, all of our LGBTQIA 2S plus fucking friends, all of you. We love you. Happy Pride. And even if you're not able to celebrate, if you're somewhere where you don't feel safe being who you are, somewhere where you aren't quite comfortable exposing who you are like that yet, we still see you. We still love you. You are still appreciated. And if your parents don't fucking appreciate you, if your family doesn't appreciate you, I'm your dad now. I will offer you fatherly hugs and advice. Please sit up straight, eat your vegetables, and don't forget to mow the lawn before you go to your friend's house on Saturday. Happy Pride.
Well said, Curtis. Everybody, even if you're not feeling safe where you are right now, you're always safe with the boys from the shorts. This is a safe place for everyone. Curtis will play catch with you in his spare time. That's how safe it is. Absolutely. And so
we can build a go-kart in the garage.
Yeah, we'll make a snowman. We'll do it all. You're safe here. So that is a lovely message, and I appreciate you putting that out there, bud. It's been a hot second. Lots has happened. When we last spoke, it was just before the Best of the Super Junior finals. So I think we don't fuck around anymore, and we just jump straight into talking about that final, yeah? So we'll just go straight to that match, as that's what that entire night was about. We're talking about our boy Titan versus Wato Mania, running wild, Master Wato, way to the Grand Master. What do you think, Curtis?
Okay, so the one thing I have to say about this, 3 words, 5-star Titan boy. Oh my God, my boy Titan now has a 5-star match from Stinky Uncle Dave.
That is sick.
I can't even deal with it, dude. I was so excited, so happy for him. Like, and Watto, like people on the internet, people on Twitter always want to hate. They go, oh, Watto, yeah, fucking Watto, dude.
Yeah, boy.
Hell yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Tell me you don't watch New Japan without telling me you don't watch New Japan. Yes, fucking Watto. Dude, I'm fucking Watto's ascension from absolute like fucking scared dog shit to a 5-star man and the best of the Super Juniors. That storytelling is the best bit of long-term storytelling that Kikuchi ever gave us. I knew when he came back, I was like, no, this isn't the same guy. He fucking saw a murder in Mexico or something. No, like it was him fucking with us. He's been this good all along. It was just this is the way to the Grand Master.
I think, I think he's definitely had a huge development since he came back. It's funny when you see the like clips when they were like doing the hype stuff and they showed him like the footage of him debuting. It's like looking at a different fucking dude. He's literally grown up and developed so much in like the last couple of years. Like it's been crazy. And then when you see him standing, you know, face to face with Hiromu, like after he's won, and he's a good bit taller than Hiromu as well, you're like, yo, homie's like becoming a man out here. And it's impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
and he's
come a long way.
Fucking yoked. Like he's got the shoulders and the chest, you know, and he's like tall and he's handsome in a way, I guess. Like he's like you said, becoming a man. He's coming into his own,
Mhm.
and it's really really fucking cool to see.
Mhm.
I mean, they are making a star. Like everyone is thinking, Watto is 2020 Master Watto. That's not who he is, man. That's
Mhm.
not who he is anymore.
No,
You
he's
can't
come a long
judge.
way. He has.
You can't judge 2023 Master Watto by 2020.
No, exactly. And it's one of the reasons why New Japan is so good, because you get to see these developments in real time. You know what I mean? You see them grow, you see them from babies essentially become fully formed wrestlers. And we've seen that with Okan, we've seen that with Suji, with Umino, with Narita, with Oemura when he comes back. You know what I mean? Like you see these guys developing, it gets to pay off. You know what I mean? Like I see it with Hadare, you see it with JY, you've seen it with David Finlay, like all these dudes where they're, little boys around the ring, like learning their craft, pudgy dudes, like figuring it out, become fully formed absolute weapons. And it's really amazing to see, and it's really rewarding to see that turn around and pay off over time, and always one of the most exciting things about it. And I think that's why, dudes like Wado getting to that point, Suji headlining Dominion, all those things are so exciting, because you're like, what have they learned? What have they become? How are they going to express themselves outside of the black tights, And that's the really cool part. And that match, it was really cool, and it showed that new direction and the faith that New Japan puts in their dudes. Because they're like, yeah, we could have just had like a Desperado Hiromu final, we could have Leo's proven, there was other options there, but they're like, nah, boy, we're going to elevate two new dudes right now, go, and just did it, and it was fucking awesome.
Here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they are intentionally not pushing Western talent as much?
No, not at all. I think I don't think they're not pushing Western talent. I think they're investing in their own talent and the talent that has been loyal to them throughout the thing. Because you can't say they're not pushing Western talent when you see like what's happening with David Finlay, what's happening with ELP, all of the LA Dojo guys joining Bullet Club and getting that big push. All of these dudes like Robbie Eagles, you know what I mean? All of these dudes were the dudes that stuck with them. And so they're investing back in their own people rather than just bringing in huge names. And they're even starting to do that a little bit again, with the guys, from the Blackpool Combat Club and the stuff with Brian and bringing Kenny back in and stuff. But they're not really bringing in guys for those super long tours or anything anymore. The guys they're bringing in are their guys. They may be Western wrestlers, but they're New Japan guys. And that's what it comes down to. And I think when you hear the stories like Obari saying, they had 6 months until they close, things were really tight, they've got to watch their money and things like that. They're going to invest in their contracted talent. And this rewinds all the way back to like our first, podcast we did together based around that New Japan Cup, where it was like, fuck, can they bring in anybody else? They're just using all their guys. This is kind of boring and it's all the same stuff. And it turned into one of the best New Japan Cups because they've got the talent there. They just need to, let it go and write stories with them, which is exactly what they're doing, and they're killing it.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of talk, from people who say things like, "Oh, they're scared of losing another foreign wrestler. They're scared of losing another Western wrestler.
Mm.
Like they just lost Jay White, so now they're scared. They're sheepish about pushing someone like a Leo Rush or something like that." And I don't think that's it at all. I think specifically there are plenty of Western wrestlers who have gone through their system. I mean, if Jay White wanted to come back to New Japan tomorrow, if he got let go from AEW, he'd be welcome back with open arms.
Absolutely. I mean, he did all the right things going out the door. I don't think it's like gun shy on, investing in, foreign talent or anything like that. It's like I said, like they're still pushing Western wrestlers, but they're their guys, and they were proven over time. I mean, Jay White he was a dojo boy and was with them forever. You know what I mean? He got an opportunity when his contract was up, the same as anybody else. They've had, Japanese wrestlers leave too. Look at Shinsuke,
Yep.
Kenta went, you know what I mean? Kushida went, then they come back again because they do the right thing or whatever. I don't think that's the case. I think they're just being smart with their money. Like they're like, where are we going to put our money? Things were tight. We're buckling down. We're investing in ourselves. We're making using our young talent, making everything exciting, and we'll build the fucking stories ourselves. And then now they turned around and they're like, this has been our most profitable fucking year since the heyday in whenever, like 2017 or whatever. And it's like because they invested in their own guys. And so why would they change from that? And when they can afford to say, I don't know, give back to the talent that fucking took pay cuts to keep the doors open. Like, to reward guys that came over in COVID and risked their health to do it, like who spent months in lockdown and stuff. What are you going to do that? Or are you going to bring in some flashy name, And I mean, you can't even say they don't do that. They brought in Mercedes Moné, like they're just choosing where to spend their money and spending it wisely instead of just go, we'll pop the house with like, oh, cool, it's this AEW guy of the month. They're like, no, we're just going to invest in the people who are going to be here. And I think, yeah, exactly. And I think they're choosing carefully. Like I think if they could have afforded to or could have warranted it, they probably would have like offered Aussie Open a deal, but they couldn't really compete with AEW and the budget that they're currently existing in. And they're like, then we just got to let them go and we'll just invest in other dudes. And that's exactly what they do. We build stars and then other people buy them. That's the fucking, that's the business we're in. Like, that's just how it works, And that's why
and that is
they're
unfortunate,
awesome
but I think it's gotten them to the point where they're investing in their future now even more. Like we said with they're building new stars with Wado and Yota Tsuji and Ren Narita and Yuya is going to be humongous when he gets back, and they've just put a ton of faith into Dave Finley, and they are really building new stars to replace I don't want to say replace, but to some of these people are going to be cycling out of the main event picture and things like that. You can always count on like the big four. You can always count on Tanahashi and Naito and Okada, like you can count on those guys. But like Tanahashi, he's visibly slowing down. I will never in my life say that Tanahashi is rinsed. He is not. Tana can still go anytime he wants to. I was not surprised that he's going to be in this G1.
No, he's going to put it on his back. That's how he does it.
He's going to, yeah, it's what he does. But like, maybe Tanahashi's not going to be getting many more title shots, between here and the time that he really completes the down cycle. Naito is getting to the point where eventually in a few years he might be in that exact same spot. Okada is only like what 34. He's still got plenty of years left, but like in the meantime they're not doing what a Western company would do and just like relying on those guys over and over and over again. They're restocking that cupboard constantly with brand new talent that's going to be able to lift up to that level. That Shooter's going to be able to go to that level. That Yuya is going to be at that level. Tsuji has proven that he is at that level. And their Wado is coming in and they've made him a star. Like Wado he's someone who's going to be huge in the future. And when he wins that title, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a moment. And like they're looking out for, maybe they're not necessarily looking out for Western stars specifically. They're not looking out for that sort of crossover appeal. They're saying we're going to do what we do best. And if the West is into it, they can see what we do. Like that's what they were doing in 2017, 2018. Like they weren't looking to make crossover stars out of Kenny and the Bucks and things like that. Like they were just putting on great New Japan matches and people fucking stood up and took notice.
Yeah. And like the
So
Bucks just happened to have like a YouTube show that everybody found to be really entertaining, and that helped them to like develop into something way more. You know what I mean? Like that was the way it worked. It wasn't New Japan marketing like to the US. It just they ended up getting so much USA notice that they went, oh, maybe we can start to push our expansion a little bit more. And I think we probably would have seen, you know, better things of that maybe if like an AEW didn't come around or maybe COVID didn't happen. But, you know, they've gone, let's just refocus back on doing what we do best and go from there.
yeah, exactly. They said like this is what got us notoriety in 2017. This is what will get us notoriety in 2023 and beyond.
Yeah.
Like New Japan is up.
Mhm.
Tell the world we back up,
Mhm.
because we back up.
We back up. And also it's interesting as well when you see like the technique they've used in like down cycling, like say an Okada and a Tanahashi and stuff out of the main title picture, moving them into something like the Never, so they can then interact more with that young talent. You know what I mean? Whereas you can't put a shooter constantly in the title picture against like the world champion. You can sure as fuck have him working with the best wrestler in the company regularly when you're fucking about with the Nevers and trio situations and individual rivalries and stuff. You know, it's smart. Like it's really creative. And at the same time, you know, having a shock situation where everybody's excited about this brand new champion and can he be good enough and what's it going to be? And then, you know, you can debut somebody like a Suji and you're like, is Suji going to fucking win? Whereas if it was Okada, you'd be like, oh, Suji's roasted. Like he's just going to lose immediately. But it really felt like something could really happen, which is why I think Dominion was, you know, so exciting going into it. But before we get all into that, sorry, if you've got another point there, I'll let you finish. But I was going to say,
No, I was going to say that's a great point where a point where we can naturally go to talk about Dominion.
yeah. Well, do you have any last thoughts about Best of the Super Juniors and that final, or overall thoughts of the tournament? I mean, we kind of did a bit of a wrap up, but I think it was a huge success, and I'm happy with the winner in the end. You know what I mean? As much as I wanted it to be a Robbie or a Despy, I'm glad that I've said on this podcast heaps of times that I always want like tournaments to elevate new stars, and they gave me exactly that. You know, and so how could I possibly complain? And I mean, we even said best case, worst case, and shit like that leading into it. We said it would be awesome if a Teton was elevated. You know,
That's true. Like they kept saying, "Oh, nobody predicted this. Nobody predicted this." But like, look at the match graphic that we put up for that breakdown episode. We saw it had Watto and Teton on it.
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
don't remember.
ride
I
that.
don't even remember
That's
what
our
we
clout.
said. Were they our like best and worst case scenarios each
No,
versus each
they
other?
weren't.
We just put White up because we
Teton,
thought his photo was funny.
we put Watto up because we thought his photo was funny, and then we put Teton up there because both you and I said that we wanted Teton in the finals.
We said, yeah, he was
or
our
at least
best
in the semis.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We said that he would be one of our best. And then was Waito in one of our worst or not really? He was just sort of in the middle somewhere. I don't remember.
I think we had him in the middle somewhere.
I don't
Because
remember.
both of us wanted to have like Robbie or Despy and things like that. But like
Yeah.
in the spot where we would have had a Despy or a Robbie, we got elevated stars.
Yeah.
And they pushed a star from the West. So all those people saying that they don't push Western stars anymore, what the fuck was Speedball doing in the fucking finals?
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Or in the semis.
And it's not like Robbie was fucking not a major player in that tournament. He was a huge part of the tournament. Like, and he was really kind of like Despy's final boss in a way. You know what I mean? Even though he went on to like lose to Titan, you would argue that the toll that Robbie took on it. Well, I mean, the entire tournament took a toll on him, but Robbie was kind of like that final huge hurdle, and then it was just all too much by the time he hit Titan. You know?
Yeah. No, like that's the matches that they had were all spaced out. They could have been spaced out a little better, but they were all spread out to the point where you saw each person's storytelling that would have taken place over a month take place in like rapid fire 2.5 weeks or whatever it was. And so you saw each one develop in a way faster, in a faster way than you would have in a normal New Japan tournament. And I like that. I like that because we didn't have the preview tags every night. You got to see the main storytelling take place in the ring with those matches, and that was pretty wild. I mean, you rarely ever see anything like that. Like, you never see a G1 take, a G1 in like 2 weeks would be fucking insane. The G1 takes a month for a reason.
Yeah, everyone would die.
Everyone would just fucking just fall apart.
Yeah.
But like, seeing that storytelling, that hyper focused sprint of storytelling all at once, turn that tournament into one of my favorites that I've seen in probably my entire New Japan watching fandom. Like,
Wow.
I fucking loved this tournament.
Huge.
There were so many great matches that were, I mean, like Despy and Akira was probably my favorite of the tournament. Although the final, the Wado Teton final was just so fucking good. And then there were so many great matches sprinkled throughout, like Connors and Dan Maloney was a super fun walk and brawl.
Sure.
There were so many great like little shows in smaller areas that had huge impacts, and people who had shitty runs on the tournament, like Taguchi, shitty run in the tournament, but it was the best Taguchi we've seen in years.
If you told me that one of my favorite matches of the tournament would be Taguchi versus Ishimori, I would fucking call you a liar. I'd be like, that's an insane thing. But he comes out and that's his first match and he's going to be like, I'm not going to be the ass guy here. And the fire out of him. Like, if you told me that, like, I would love Speedball versus Taguchi, I would be like, get fucked. Like, I don't care about this. Speedball versus Show. These are guys that I fucking ripped on or not cared about, but I had so much like fun with them. And the final situation, like having the A and B in it, 1 and 2, and then having them verse each other, and then that being the mix that ends up with the final. That was so fun because there was the whole thing like we could end up with 2 B block guys still in the final against each other or whatever, I think we should put together. We won't do it now because we're not prepared and we'll just end up debating for hours and like it's already really late. But we should put together a little graphic for our Instagram of our like top, 5 or 6 matches of the tournament. Maybe we put in 3 each just for any listeners that didn't watch the tournament and just want to jump in, parachute in and see a couple of fun matches that we like really liked.
I actually kept a list of my favorite matches.
Oh, even better. Then I've already just listed a couple. So you list a few and we're done. No homework.
I loved so I've got it written down. Robbie and Francisco Akira.
Loved it.
Hiromu and Speedball from that first night. Despy versus Kanemaru.
Yeah, first night.
Kushida versus Speedball. Robbie versus Kevin Knight, I thought was great. Doki versus Teton. Speedball versus Ryosuke Taguchi, like you just said. Maloney versus Robbie.
Yeah,
Maloney versus
great.
Connors. TJP versus Leo. I thought those guys were brilliant professional wrestlers. Despy versus Akira. And the finale.
And Despy versus Robbie as well.
Oh, well, I mean,
that goes without saying. And the finale, yeah, actually that was a really good one. And then, yeah, like I said, I would throw in Speedball versus Show. I really liked just because he crane kicks him in the fucking chest and it's awesome. That was super fun. And then super enjoyed Taguchi and Ishimori. I was really enjoying the Ishimori Hiromu match until he got injured as well. That was a real shame.
Yeah.
That was a great match up until that point. That was I think going to be a real classic for them, which is a real shame. Apparently Ishimori's like okay as well. He's like obviously
Good.
off and at home and stuff, but they're like he has full movement and everything. So hopefully, yeah, he's all good and we see him back sooner than later. I've been pretty guilty of ripping on him over the years. You know what I mean? But fuck, you can't rip on somebody that shows their real heart in those moments, you know, when they're injured. Like, what can you fucking say about that? That was awesome. Another good one. Did you say Clark Connors versus Despy?
No, I didn't have that one down.
That was
I
a
should go
super
rewatch
fun.
that
You
one.
want to talk about brawls and stuff? That was a super fun one as well, which is really good. So, all right. So, tournament in the bag. Let's jump straight into Dominion, my man. You got the rundown of matches. If not, I got them here, and we'll.
I sure
start
do.
from
I
the
got it right
beginning.
here.
Mhm.
So let's start from the opening of the match. The opening match. The opening of the match.
Yeah.
The opening of the match.
Mhm.
We had Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer.
Mhm.
Just 8 minutes of fucking white hot awesomeness. Number one contenders match for the IWGP US. It says on the results page, it says heavyweight.
It does say that.
HEABY weight.
Hey, before we get
Heavyweight.
all the way into this, do you want to do our intro and tell people who we are? 22,
I was just
23
thinking
minutes in before we jump into the Dominion review.
That's not the worst we've ever done.
No,
That's not the worst.
we've
But
done
yes,
longer.
we are the King of Shorts, the International Wrestling Grand Prix. That's your. I'm your good friend Curtis Spears. That's your bad friend Ray Fuse. And how you
What
doing
up?
tonight?
Hey, I am good. 11 p.m., 11:06 p.m. on a Tuesday night, and I'm ready for it. Let's get it.
You know what? You know what today is?
What's it?
It's our boy Michael Richards' birthday.
Oh, I did. I sent him a message. Happy birthday, Michael Richards.
Happy
Co-host
birthday,
of the
Michael
podcast,
Richards.
Michael Richards from the
Yeah, he was
Farley
what, our
Dojo.
third co-host, fourth
Yeah.
co-host.
Yeah, third or fourth. I forget the tally. I need to put like a noteboard up here. You know what I mean? So I can have pertinent fucking podcast facts in front of me.
Podcast facts.
Yeah, exactly.
With Rafe.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the show.
Settle in, cunts. Let's go.
Settle in.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Exactly. But yeah,
So
Will
yeah, the
Ospreay,
first match,
Lance Archer.
IWGP US Heavyweight Championship number one contender match. Will Ospreay beats Lance Archer with the hidden blade like 14 times in a row. This match was so much fun.
Yeah.
You can tell these guys just love working together.
Mhm.
How did you feel about the match?
I'd say a couple of things. First, former Perth Panthers quarterback Lance Archer. When I met him and I told him I was from Perth, he told me he lived here for a time. He had an uncle that lived here in Perth, West Australia, and he came over and people got word he was here and they're like, you are big, tall and American. Surely you play football. And he's like, yeah. And he became like the quarterback of a team here for a time. So that was like a running
Do you
joke
think
for
you
a
could
bit.
find a jersey?
Hey? Oh, it's so long ago. It's like, I don't think that team exists anymore. But if I could, I absolutely would. I'd have to look into it. But yeah, I haven't been able to sort of interact with him since he joined AEW.
Pride of the Perth Panthers, Lance Archer.
Exactly.
Way to go, buddy.
Pride of the Perth Panthers, Lance Archer. Fucking love seeing Lance back. And like you said, you can tell they love working together. When you remember when Lance Archer essentially became the Murder Hawk monster, it was against Will Ospreay. That's when he debuted that look. And when he opened that G1, it was those two in the first round. And that's when you were like, yo, this is a whole new fucking dude right now. You know what I mean? When he started doing backflips off the top rope and stuff, it was all with Will Ospreay. So this was like a real full circle moment. And I thought they both killed it, man. I really enjoyed it. I've always got time for Lance. I kind of wish he was back in New Japan. I don't think they're really utilizing him heaps in AW. So I've liked these little, spots for him, but I could see him all the time. And I wish he was in the G1 as well because I like him a lot.
Oh, he did a lot of fun stuff in last year's G1. You can tell the Japanese fans fucking love him.
They love him. Yeah.
They were so excited to see him back. So yeah, it's a shame that he's not still here, but I think the living closer to home or working closer to home and the schedule that he's working in AEW is probably better for him right now because he's not a young guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But yeah, if he can parachute in and do these, one-offs and stuff like that, drop in for a tournament, drop in for a little thing like this, I think it's awesome. I really enjoyed the match as well, and I like the finish too. I thought it was cool where Will's just like, I just got to keep going until I fucking cut him down.
Yeah, I've got to fucking elbow him into non-existence.
Yeah.
What'd you think of his mask, Lance's mask when he
I
came
liked
out?
it. Yeah, I thought it was
I thought
cool.
it was cool as
Yeah,
fuck.
I thought it was cool. I liked the big match white, and I liked the mask, and I liked the white
Oh,
braids.
I didn't
It
even
was just
say
a
that.
tiny
Yeah,
little-
the white with the gold trim,
Yeah.
very opulent.
Yeah,
We love that here.
Fucking Curtis getting pumped on that every time.
I thought his mask looked like a xenomorph. It was really fucking cool.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely.
So yeah, shorts.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the second match, which was just 4 of the guys versus LIJ. So we had Taka Michinoku, Doki, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Taichi versus Teton, Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito. Teton gets the win over Taka Michinoku with Llave Immortal. Fucking how okay, you know how everybody in LIJ comes out with their own theme and they stand at the top of the ramp, like you love that shit. They're all striking poses
love
and cutting shapes and stuff. Teton's fucking entrance. You know how Teton loves him some fucking Teton, right?
He loves his own music, and he just feels every single second of it. I love him coming out first because he's just like every fucking drip
Point
he
at
can
the
milk
ring.
out of it. Yeah.
Point at the sky. Everybody, Teton time.
Yeah,
You know, like he's
love
fucking
it.
just feeling it, bro.
Yeah, he gets into it. I love him coming out first. It's so fucking good. He sets
dude.
he sets the tone.
He's it's funny because like Teton loves being in LIJ. Like every time you see, like every day he's posting pictures of him with another member of LIJ or like multiple pictures of him with dudes from LIJ, just having a good time.
Yeah,
Just
he
loving life.
He wanted it, and he got it. So he's killing it. I loved in the final how they all came out wearing his shirt. That was sick.
That was rad. Yeah, seeing the El Immortal LIJ shirt. God, I want one. God, I want one.
He loves it.
What did you think? What did you think about this? Just a good like 8-man tag.
Yeah, just
like
really good fun. Nice start to the show, and also worth noting. I hadn't had a chance to say it, but how good is it having Gino back on commentary for the show?
Gino fucking Gambino.
He was
Oh my
so
God,
good,
dude.
man. There was a few calls and stuff like Kevin Kelly where he was just like laughing so hard at what Kevin done. He's like, I just love you for that, Kevin. Like, it was so good.
Can we say that it wasn't actually a full Gino Gambino? It was only like 2/3 of Gino Gambino.
Yeah,
Way to fucking
he's
go,
been
brother.
putting in the work, man. Putting in the work. Back in Japan, so good. And yeah, the friendship goals of like a Kevin Kelly, a Gino, and a Chris as a trio is something to behold.
I was so happy. Like I had no idea that he was going to be on that show. So when I turned it on and I hear this voice, Kevin, and I was like, oh shit. I was so excited. I love Gino Gambino. That guy fucking rules.
He was so good. Did you see the thing where it was like backstage and they were talking about that meat match that Oscar was going to have, and Kevin's just going through the rules, and and it's like, and he's like, yeah, and then we all get yakiniku barbecue, and Gino's like, yes, like way too excited, and he's like, oh wait, was I not supposed to? Like, is that camera on? Like, you know, way too fucking pumped about it. It was awesome.
Those fucking meat matches, they don't show them to us, and it makes me sad.
It
Because
makes me sad too.
you want to see the young lions. Like I always want to watch the young lions.
Yeah,
because I always want to see how they're doing, how they're developing, you know. And like these matches where they're doing a gauntlet, you know, through each other, that's the best way to get to know.
Yeah.
You know, like I loved it. What was it, a couple of years ago during the G1 when they had, it was Gabe and Yuya and Yoda, Suji, and they kept like having the they'd have 2 of them every night.
Yeah.
You know, like as a preview match before the G1 matches started. I fucking loved that.
Yeah.
Because you get to see like how each one's developing, how they differ from each other. You get to see them against another person who's at their same level and like really spot the differences and really kind of pick your favorite.
Yeah.
You know, so
and it was like
I would love
oh, sorry, you go.
I would love to see that kind of personality is all.
Yeah. Even if they didn't even if they didn't want to show it on the main broadcast or whatever, it would be really cool if you know how like when they first go up, it's all matches, but then eventually they put it up where they break down all the matches. It would be real cool if it was like just there as an option that you could select, like and watch that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be really cool. But like part of it, it's a huge part of the development of the young lions and like how you end up feeling about them. Like we know that Yoda Tsuji and Yuya Oemura debuted on the same day, and they traded like they were drawing against each other forever. Like I don't even know, and I think like one got a win over the other, and then the other got it straight back. You know what I mean? They were like really tied and really even. And now Yoda Tsuji's come back and he's made this big debut, and you're like, but his nemesis is like not far away, like, and you know that's coming, and that's really exciting. And will they be together or will they be against each other? Like you don't know.
I also want to, speaking of young lions, we're going to step back in time just a minute to when we were talking about Lance Archer, and of course Lance Archer comes out and the
Oh,
very
yeah.
first thing he does is just absolutely just shatter Oscar Leba,
Yeah.
and then he turns around and the next thing he does, he throws a nice like forearm right into right into Oleg,
Yeah.
and Oleg goes, "Oh, I'm gonna sell that, but motherfucker." Like you could I don't know how, like, when people come out and they push around the young lions
Mhm.
and then they go to push around Oleg, and it's like, why are you even pretending?
Yeah, yeah,
Just
exactly.
Oleg would snap you the fuck in half right now.
He's like, I, but he's still not. It's like some of the young lions are like fucking flipping over the railings and doing crazy shit. He's still not doing that though.
No, because it's like, fucking, you want to
Within
throw me over
reason.
the fucking over the rail, you're gonna throw me over the fucking rail.
Yeah, yeah,
Do it.
exactly. Come here and do
Dare
it, boy.
you.
I saw that. We'll talk about him more, but Finley shaping up to him and shit, and Oleg's just he wasn't really backing down, but he was just like hands up, like, "Hey, we've got no beef," kind of thing.
That was great.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Uh,
All
okay,
right.
we'll get to the next match. The next
Match.
match was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match.
Mhm,
Kevin Knight and Kushida losing to
mhm,
Catch 2 Francesco Akira and TJP,
mhm.
10 minutes and 38 seconds. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions, Catch 2. Belts back where they belong. You know,
I would say so.
they they shouldn't have really taken them off anyway.
Mm.
But I think the idea of putting a little gold around the waist of Kevin Knight was a good thing.
Mhm.
Um,
I think it added
Giving a
to the
story.
Kushida story as well, because
Yeah.
like Kushida's whole story is he's like stuck in the past, right? And he's got this like young lad with him who's helping him win things. And even when he ends up in trouble and outnumbered, who fucking comes and rescues him? It's like the young dude, right? So they're kind of riding high, but it's like, can he do it on his own? And it proves over the tournament that he can't. He needs to evolve. Like the only win he gets is from like the time when he's not doing that. And so it was essentially shown like by him having that like he was just like clutching onto somebody else almost, you know what I mean? And so I think it's just all part of that. Whereas if he had taken a loss and TJP and that still had it, he would just still kind of be a loser. You know what I mean? I feel like it just added like a nice little wrinkle. Whereas though, you know, those losses that he was taking were adding potential challenger after challenger after challenger. Like he was racking up fucking potential enemies. Obviously, Catch 2 cashed in first because they had right to challenge, but it felt a bit like any of these dudes that are beating him could pull together a team and come for those titles. And so it felt like the stakes were increasing with every loss that he took. And I was wondering even if they wouldn't run straight to Catch 2, if it would be like now the Jet Setters need to go on a bit of a gauntlet through the junior tag league kind of thing to hold on to the titles, which could have been a cool sub story of them like narrowly holding on to the belts as like Kevin Knight's getting wins and fucking Kushida's nearly losing it, you know?
That would have been very cool. I think maybe because G1's coming up, they don't feel like they would have had the time to
Yeah,
tell that
that would
story.
absolutely be what it is. Yeah. But so they kind
But
of told that in a sense in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, like without them doing it as a tag team. That's what they were essentially kind of showing, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like Kushida, like we were saying, people that had like shit tournaments still entertained and still told great stories. Like
Mhm.
Kushida had a shit tournament, but it was not because he was wrestling badly. It was because he didn't get the results he wanted or the results that we expected.
Mhm.
But the evolution that he was showing, like bully Kushida is coming.
Yeah.
We're gonna get full on, limb collector Kushida, and it's gonna be sad to see like Time Splitter, Marty McFly go away, but it's
Mhm.
gonna be really cool to see what Kushida could do as a serious badass,
Yeah.
fucking taking your shoulder, taking your knees, and fucking putting them on a chain around his neck.
Exactly. How fun, like, how clever, I guess, a story in a sense, like, when he came back with, like, he's not evolving, he's still just, like, stuck in the past, and it's like, of course he is. He's Marty McFly. Like, you know what I mean? Of course he's stuck in the past, he needs to come back to the future and become the next thing, you know? And as long as he's
Mhm.
stuck there, he's just gonna keep walking old ground, and the rest of the field have moved on without him. So,
Yeah, I love that. It's like you left for 5 years to try and make yourself better,
mhm.
but really all you did was play down. And when you come back here, like these aren't young boys anymore.
Yeah.
These are full-fledged men who have been working New Japan schedules and New Japan matches
Mhm.
while you were convalescing in the WWE because you got this injury,
Mhm.
and then your pushes were cut short, and you were kind of in NXT with a bunch of fucking dudes who aren't really up to your level yet. You
Mhm.
come back here where people are at the level that you were at when you left, and you're not at that level
Yeah.
anymore.
You're still here, like, whereas everyone's moved on without you. So, yeah, exactly right. I think there's cool things to come from him, and so I'm looking forward to seeing his evolution.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely. Okay. Next match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Jeff Cobb in 8 minutes and 46 seconds with a crucifix pin. The fucking coolest escape from a tour of the islands I've ever
It
seen in
was,
my life. I thought that was what a great fucking match this was. I was having so much fun watching it.
yeah, it was super fun. It was so fast. Like, yeah, exactly. You said it was what, under 9 minutes, and it was
Yep.
just like on, and it was awesome, man. Their juxtaposition of styles and how different they are is just really cool. And yeah, it doesn't even feel like it's the end of their rivalry in a sense. You know what I mean? Because Zach has managed to eke him out, and the cool thing about his title and the identity of it is it really works to his strengths. You know, he's a hard man to fucking keep down at the best of times, and even there was like he'd take, some brutal move, and then immediately you see him just rolling out of the ring. Because he can just waste time. Like he just needs to survive 15 minutes, and he's already so slippery.
I love this title is my favorite title in New Japan.
Mhm.
Like it's the one that I look forward to seeing the most.
Mhm.
And it's partly because of who's holding it.
Mhm.
It's partly because of the rules for the title. It's partly because of the people that are competing for the title.
Mhm.
I absolutely love the NJPW Television Championship. Like seeing Zack Sabre Jr. defend this title in Ring of Honor, seeing him defend it, in New Japan, seeing him defend it on Strong Show, seeing like all these different things that he's done.
Mhm.
He's really establishing you know, this ugly ass belt to be something really fucking special. I
Mhm.
love it. I
Yeah,
love it so much.
I completely agree. Completely agree. It's awesome. And they've just given him the opportunity to just run with it, and it's dope.
It's so much fun. He's already racked up 9 defenses.
Yeah.
So like what they said they wanted to do, focus on younger generation.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Then they say that they want to, have this on their social media,
Mhm.
and they want to have this title kind of go around and like be defended as often as it possibly can. And he's fucking doing that.
Yeah.
Like he's already at his 10th defense will be his next one, you
Yeah.
know?
That's huge. And like, how long's he had it for?
Fucking like just barely 6 months.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Super duper
Mhm.
badass.
Absolutely.
Um every time every time I watch Jeff Cobb like absolutely huck a man, it just reminds me so much of like he reminds me of Dr. Death, Steve Williams, back in the old AGPW or AJPW days, the old All Japan Dr. Death. I love it so much. Jeff Cobb fucking rules. I would not have been sad if they put this belt on Jeff Cobb.
No,
just
I
because
thought
he could have.
I thought it was probably going to happen. You know, like you asked me to make a wild prediction before this show even happened, and like I said, I'm like, we could be looking at a situation where every belt changes hands. That's the status quo they've built into us and put into place. With that Sonata change and with everything that's been happening, it feels like completely uncertain ground, and it's so refreshing.
It really is. It really is. I mean, and at this point, if they didn't put the belt, they did not. If they don't put the belt on Jeff Cobb, do you see fucking anybody taking that off of Zach? Zach's fucking the man right now.
Yeah, it's hard to think of him like who would be the person, but I feel like whoever it is, it'll be an upset when it happens.
I mean, it definitely could be. It definitely could be, or maybe it'll be like, we'll all look at it and go like, that was the right fucking move.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I have complete faith that whatever happens with that belt, I'll be watching it and fucking loving it. I am absolutely in love with the World TV Championship right now.
And anybody that's listening to this and you don't have New Japan World, you can see all his matches for free, right? Like every time you look on there, the New Japan World matches are free and can be watched regardless.
Yep, the TV title championship matches are all put on social media for free to watch. And I would suggest this is one that if you're trying to get a friend into New Japan, like that's one that I would just be like, hey man, fucking watch this.
Absolutely. And this match like specifically of those would be a good one.
9 minutes long. It's fucking awesome. Who was it he faced in Ring of Honor recently? Not Lee Moriarty. Who the fuck was it? I don't remember. I'm not really up to date with AEW guys, but it was really good too.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the fifth match, which was the IWGP Tag Team and Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship match 3-way. Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto Bishamon versus Yujiro Takahashi and Evil, the House of Torture, versus Great-O-Khan and our friend Aaron Henare. So I loved this match. I thought it was so much fun.
There was a lot of shit fucking going down, but it was a lot of fun. The wrong team won, though. Should have put it on Henare and fucking Khan.
Definitely should have put it on Henare and Cobb. Or I'm going to go so far as to say should have put it on Yujiro and Evil.
you evil motherfucker.
House of Torture was like fucking
they were turning it on. They had
match.
So many fucking members, and it was so funny. Like Gino being so into it, and Kevin being so mad about it. He's like, "You could look at you there, Gino, with that Cheshire grin on your face."
I love it so much, Kevin.
Yeah.
It was so good to see. Like, just it was not a work ready match. You just had a work ready match right before this. This was just a little palate cleanser. It was fun. You got dudes in there who were doing their moves. You got Aaron Henare in there who's playing the straight man for the House of Torture shenanigans. That was great. You got the heeliest moment in the entire year of 2023 as voted by the women of Japan, which was show low blowing our friend the Great-O-Khan, the champion of the British All Hail.
Unacceptable.
And unacceptable. The women of Japan, it's as if you could hear them all crying out at once. It was so sad. He was only able to have sex with one woman's that night.
Only one?
Only one.
Oh no.
I'm sure. Maybe maybe I mean a couple
slight
before
exaggeration. It is a work.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Just the heeliest thing you ever could do.
Yeah, but there were a few near falls here, man, where I was like, oh fuck, like Yujiro near falls as well, like hitting pimp juice and shit. And I'm like, this is done. Yujiro's taking it.
When he hit, who was it? Was it Goto that he hit pimp juice on?
I think so, yeah. Yeah,
I think so. Oh my god, I was like, it's done.
Yeah, this is
fucking
it.
House of Torture.
Yeah. I now that you say it, I probably wouldn't have hated it, to be fair.
I would have fucking
I
I
love
would have loved
Shogun.
it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hey, you know what?
Mm,
Here we go.
mm.
Let's start talking about putting evil back in the world championship picture.
Come on now. Come on. That's too evil.
I'm just
That's
saying,
it's a
Evil was
call.
one of my favorite parts of the Best of Super Juniors tournament. What he and Show were doing,
Mhm,
it was refreshing. It was fun.
mhm.
I really thought that maybe they could do something cool with Evil and Sonata. Did I just say that? Holy
This
shit!
is don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Oh man, that would be the ultimate test from Sonata. You think you're doing well now? Now give us a good match with Evil.
Could be a thing.
I'm not
Could be a
convinced it
thing.
can be a thing. But either way, I
And
had a good time. I thought Hanare and Great Okan were great together. I love the Kitamura tribute. I love them like fucking
that was really touching.
getting pumped up and psyching each other up the whole time. And Hanare looking jacked. Fucking Okan just it's just so much like you said, push this man. Like he's just so good. I
He's
really
so much fun.
thought they were going to get there. I thought it was going to happen. I thought Hanara was going to get his first belt.
He'll get one soon.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
coming.
of course. It's absolutely coming.
I would also like to talk about what happened after this match when we saw the debut of the Bullet Club War Dogs.
Oh, we didn't even
The
we didn't even talk about the juniors. The fucking Clark Connors and
Oh
the Dan
shit!
Maloney
Yeah.
turn. Let's talk about the War Dogs, then we're going to rewind to talk about that. Jesus Christ. Who are we?
So yeah, who are we? Fucking amateurs. We're terrible at podcasting.
Yeah, we are.
We're talking about the War Dogs. You know, we hear a sweet new theme.
Mm-hmm.
Out come Gabe Kidd and Alex Coughlin looking like fucking units
Mm-hmm.
and just destroy Bishamon. Fucking just work them.
They did.
And
kick the fuck out of him.
fucking oh my god, like Coughlin looks insane.
Yeah.
Like that,
And that
like
was with shirt on.
1,000 1,000-yard stare Coughlin, like just,
Was it you that tweeted like kill mode activated? Like when he had those fucking eyes? Looks literally like a madman. And Gabe Kidd just talking so much shit. It was fucking so good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it, bro. I love the whole thing. I love that David Finley has taken over the LA dojo.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wants absolute murderers. That's what he's got. He wants people who have felt like New Japan owes them, and he's got a bunch of dudes who, you know, they're just not doing shit with.
Yeah.
So, and now that they're all going to be in the fucking G1, we get to see Gabe in the G1.
Yeah.
We get to see fucking Coughlin in the G1. He's gonna deadlift the entire fucking block, bro.
I know. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be absolutely sick. And it's so exciting to see where it goes. And fuck, that's not even talking about the future and potential fucking Finlay versus Shibata matches if he can ever wrestle in Japan again. Like when you talk about you fucking corrupted my entire dojo class is pretty interesting. But rewinding to the Dan Maloney turn at the end of the Catch 2-2 fucking thing. Did you see that coming? Like
Chef's fucking kiss.
Yeah.
Oh
See,
my God,
I saw
that
it
was good.
coming, not because I saw it coming, but because when I turned on the show live, it was already in the ELP match. And I was like, who the fuck else is outside? And it wasn't until one point where he took up, I'm like, that's Dan Maloney. And now he's like Bullet Club. Like, I didn't know what had happened. So I didn't get that awesome turn. Like, were you spoiled in advance or you didn't see it coming?
I did not see it coming because, like, I knew that there was somebody else in Bullet Club. But I couldn't see the picture I saw because I looked at Twitter for a minute, and the picture I saw was like David Finley, Coughlin, and Connors and Gabe, and I couldn't see who the fifth person was. And I was like, oh, that's not Ghetto. Who the fuck is that? But then yeah, the turn executed so fucking well. Like the absolute showmanship of Connors strutting down to the ring. Here's my new fucking partner.
Yeah.
And Dan Maloney the whole time, like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Just, you know,
and then just mauls
he
them, eh? And I think
oh,
it suits him perfect. Like it fits him better. Like I was like, oh, that's cool having him in United Empire kind of thing. Like that seems cool. But then when he lines up with those dudes, of course that fucking works so much better. He seemed just that bit more scummier than the other guys, you know, like, and it just works. And him and Connors as a unit, it's going to be sick. Like I'm into
oh,
it.
as a unit,
Mhm.
2 fucking units
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
unit. Oh my
Mhm.
god, Power Juniors, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
No, you know what's funny is
I mean, the
I'm
Power
watching
Juniors are essentially the same size as their heavyweight team, so they're all the fucking
right?
same. Yeah. So, like,
Fucking
Clark Connors
absolute
is the shortest, and everybody else is the same fucking
dude.
size. Like,
David Finley's the dude with the worst body in that entire
I know,
fucking
and
unit.
he's the boss. But, like, Gabe Kidd talking all that shit during the match, he's like, he's the best fucking leader that the Bullet Club has ever seen. Like, just
Oh,
yelling at
so
Kevin
good.
Kelly and shit. It's so good. But
So
yeah,
I was watching the match where Maloney faced Akira and joined the United Empire,
Mhm.
and like he was so like vitriolic towards Will Ospreay, right? Like during the match and before the match and stuff like
Really.
that. And then like the second Osprey offered him the armband, he fucking took it and came out with Osprey and Okan the next time you saw them, like he was 100% about it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, that was a fucking swing.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's like it
now I
wasn't.
know.
He was just get me into New Japan and then I'll deal with it later, kind of thing.
Yep.
Was how it was.
Yep.
And yeah, that's awesome, man. And I even like the little touch of him and Clark having this huge brawl against each other, but like no, there was no winner. You know what I mean? Like they
Yep.
were like, of course, they just beat the fuck out of each other and became best friends. Like it's like, you know, it works really well, and I'm very excited to like see how it goes and like a whole new face on this Bullet Club stuff. Now we had a listener ask us a question tonight. The Positive
Michael
Wrestling
Redding.
fan, yeah, exactly. The Positive Wrestling fan makes custom action figures for wrestling and a
It's
big
some of the
supporter
best
of
custom
us.
action figures I've ever seen in
I
my
know it's
fucking life.
literally nuts, and we're guys that like fucking paint miniatures, and we're like, yo, like. But he said, "How much better is Bullet Club now than previous years? I'm all for the change." And I would say, Michael, that you just heard it. Like we're fucking pumped on it, and we're very excited to see where it goes. I also wonder if you mentioned David Finlay's look. I mean, he's obviously been improving all the time with his fitness. I wonder if hanging out with those other fucking boys will drastically change his fitness level. Cause like you can't be fucking hanging out with Coughlin and Connors and shit and training with them and on the same bus with them and shit and not be at their level, right? Like they're gonna positively influence him in some ways. No, bro, do your
They
diet
have
like
to.
this, do this, fucking blah blah blah. Maloney, you know what I mean? Like these dudes are all body dudes. So I wouldn't be very surprised, wouldn't be surprised at all to see huge physique changes from fucking, from
That's all
Finlay
he's
and from
missing.
Gabe Kidd. Yeah. Hmm.
That's all that Finley's missing. Once he gets a hold of that, once he learns like to unlock that part of him,
Yeah.
that's the final piece of the puzzle.
Just that
That's
next level of physique, like
yep.
takes you into that next stratosphere. And I don't know if we'll really get into the G1 tonight. Like, I think we need to do another episode where we break it down in way more detail. But it was very telling, don't you think, that like when they started announcing the G1 competitors, it was like Okada, Naito, Tanahashi, you know what I mean? Osprey. Finlay was the sixth person they announced. And my
Yeah, it was
wife
all the
was sitting next to
leaders.
it. Yeah, it was all the leaders, right? And my wife even said, she's like, do people care about Finlay kind of thing? And I'm like, well, they just announced him sixth. And she was like, yo, that's a pretty big deal because it was over other people that have been more established for a while. So obviously they count him, one of the top guys.
Yeah, and I like I said, I think once he gets he gets his physique game going, like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Like Dave Finley could become like IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Absolutely.
That's the last piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And he was winning Amy over too, because she's like, watched New Japan with me for a long time, not as religiously as I do, but she's known him since he was, tubby sort of weird dude with a chin strap beard and like leopard skin fucking trunks, you know what I mean? Like, like for ages, like we just used to call him like Fat Lay and shit, because he was like just so cut such a tragic figure. And she's like, did anybody fucking buy him as this? And then like when he was coming out and he had his whole crew, and she's like, is it like harder to sort of be this? Like, she's like, not character wise, but physically, because he's got to stay on people, right? And I said, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly the change that we saw in him straight away. It's like the aggression. I'm like, he never lets up. Whereas like Jay White matches, he'd grind him down and he'd be slowing it down. He'd be talking to the crowd. He'd be doing all these things. Finlay just fucking starts mauling people, As soon as he gets an opportunity, he just like fucking destroys them. And like with physical power moves, it's fucking really impressive that he keeps up that level of cardio and intensity for as long as he does.
I had this exact fucking conversation with a dude after the Rev Pro show. They were talking, some dude on the bus home was talking about how like, oh, they've just turned David Finlay into the next Jay White. And it was like, nah, bro. Like, are you watching the same match as I am? Because like he wrestles nothing like Jay White.
Yeah. And of course he would like fucking model his look on Jay White, because it's almost like a fucking, I'm going to take what you did and do it better. So it's two levels of it. It's A, him mocking him, and B, like, I guess this is what I'm supposed to look like in Bullet Club kind of thing. But then he starts to carve out his own niche from there, look the part and then be the part. So I don't even think he'll be exactly the same forever. You know what I mean? But he had to, begin to have an extreme physical change for people to take him seriously.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I just think that he's definitely morphing into something new, and it's really fucking exciting to see. And Bullet Club is morphing right along with him.
Yeah.
And anyone who's looking at Bullet Club as a loss right now, you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope, man. The fact that he's just put together like 2 tag teams for, World Tag League and Junior Tag and guys for the G1 and shit like that. Like, he's put together winners. And in his post-match shit, he was like, in my new Bullet Club, we collect gold or we bring home bodies. And like, I was like, that's such a fucking sick ethos. How fucking cool was that? He's just like, we're either winning or we're putting you in the ground. It's one of the two, And when you look at Clark's tournament, it's exactly what he was doing the whole time. He wasn't getting heaps of wins, but even if he fucking got rolled up or got beat or whatever, he then beat them the fuck down afterwards. You know what I mean? Left them in a wreckage, like, and that's the kind of aggression that you're going to expect out of that new Bullet Club. And I loved as well, like, I mean, we'll talk probably more. I mean, I guess we're at that match anyway, but like after the ELP match as well, like fucking Clark Connors and that just yell like, we them dogs. Like, they're fucking, like, you know what I mean? They're just like all on board and all absolutely for it. It's probably everything Bullet Club, but let's talk about non-Bullet Club. What do you think about the new El Phantasmo? I did like the start to his music. I did think it repeated ELP way too many times. Like, I could have
just the same, like, it was the same like 2 phrases over and over again. It was just like L, and then like
it's a bit much.
Then after that, you got like 4 bars of some nothing. And then like it went back to the.
Well, it was kind of like a guitar heavier version of his old theme, right? Like a less, a more metal version, less dubsteppy version. But I could have started with the like, just you get the ELP, this ELP or whatever, and then it's just riffs. You don't need to. He kind of looked around like he was trying to get the crowd yelling it, sort of thing, and it's like. I'm sure that'll come.
Oh,
I mean, it definitely will. We'll be fucking talking about this later. Like, it's the best theme in New Japan in 6 months. But in the meantime, though, I thought his look was cool. I thought he evolved it nicely. I wasn't sure if he'd like completely change what he was doing, but I like that he's kind of got like a little bit more Hontai type version. Obviously, he talked about he's like, I wear these blue shorts with pride and stuff because he had the like lion mark, tracksuit kind of shorts on, and then so he went with those colors with everything he was doing. And I thought I'd never really seen babyface energy ELP wrestle a full match before. I know that's what he used to do before he came to New Japan as like a Bullet Club heel. But like seeing his like moveset, watching him and Finlay were like watching two completely different wrestlers because Finlay's become this super brutal, fucking just devastating kind of power wrestler, and fucking ELP's become this fucking elusive, super high spot fucking babyface. And you're like, who are these two guys? They're both wrestling completely different styles than what we'd seen from them in the past.
I absolutely loved it, and I think the crowd really got behind it. Like, it's
Definitely.
hard for the crowd not to like really dig like a high flyer, you know? That's like when Will's a bad guy, he's kind of got to change his move set just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really cool what ELP was doing. I think the crowd is absolutely like over the moon with his performance right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's coming together really well. I think we're gonna see a lot more of him in this G1 that's coming up, and I'm really excited for that. I'm still waiting for him to kind of like fall into a group. I
Mm.
guess it's going to be Hantai. It looks
He
like, but
kind of
like
was talking about that in his post match. He was kind of saying, oh, well, that didn't work out too well. 6 against 1 wasn't my fucking ideal situation. And he's like, and plus I spent the last 3 years being a dickhead and everybody fucking hates me. He's like, I've got no friends left. My few friends I do have work elsewhere. And he's like, but you know what? He's like, this isn't over. And he's like, and I bet I can find a few people that want to punch you in the mouth. So let's see what happens. So I guess he's going to start to gather people around him, whether that's for a whole new faction or, drawing up the lines of Hontai where they're all on the same page or whatever. Maybe we're talking GOD, maybe we're talking Tanahashi, whatever. But he's gonna try to get together some allies to fight them.
I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
I dig that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Next match
Mm-hmm.
was Hiromu defeating Master Wato in 19 minutes and 50 seconds with Time Bomb 2. I loved this match. I didn't think it was as good as Wato and Teton. Maybe that's just me, but it really seemed like this is Watto's like Wrestle Kingdom 12 moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is where he is ready. He's ready for that crowning achievement, but it's taken out from under him at the last minute.
Yeah.
He's on the cusp of something great. He's on the precipice. But yeah, I feel like he's championship material, and it could be as early as Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe he gets a win on the road to Wrestling Kingdom and beats Hiromu there. Could be a thing. I don't really know if Hiromu is going to drop the belt between here and there because he is still talking about the 12 win mark that he wants to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this was a really, really fucking good match, and it wasn't disappointing because it was great. It was sad that Watto didn't win, but it's gonna make that win a little bit more sweet very soon.
That's the thing about New Japan, though. They're going to make you wait for it. Watto's whole story has been like, he kept working and he was shit at this and he kept working and then he got beat up, and kept working and all that. And so if he just sort of like winning the best of the Super Juniors in itself was a huge achievement, and he still gets to like carry around that trophy and claim that, for a year essentially. So they're probably not in a rush like to just build him up immediately. And I think for his kind of character and for who he is, the longer that takes, the sweeter it will be when he eventually does it. You know what I mean? Might be a whole other year kind of before it happens, but he'll keep growing in front of our eyes. And when he eventually gets there, it'll be as sweet as it was when he won it. won the best of the Super Juniors. So I think it was a really fun match. I think I preferred the Teton match as well, but there was definitely heaps of fun, and I think it's going to be really cool. I don't even know if he'll be the one to necessarily take it off Hiromu. I feel like Desperado's more his nemesis than Hiromu is, but his journey is going to be one to keep on watching. And I think by the time that's all said and done, we'll be looking, a couple of years down the track and looking at Wato like, how has this guy come so far? Like from where he started,
I mean, when you're at the absolute fucking rock bottom, the only way is up, right?
Yeah, exactly right. But how far he's already come is crazy. So yeah, so super enjoyed it, man. It was really fun. And I love his move set, the Everest German, and he even brought in a Receipt Permente 2 or whatever when he beat Teton, I think it was. Like he's developing his move set and improving things and doing stuff. So, that always bodes really well.
Yeah, he's still evolving, still becoming something new, and like there's so many ways that he can beat you, right? He's got the RPP, he's got the Recitamente, he's got the Bendaval, he's got the Everest German. Like, dude, like he's becoming an absolute fucking weapon, eh?
Yeah, exactly. He's got lots of moves that can end matches at any point, and like Hiromu was selling Vendaval like it was fucking death. I thought he was gone a few times. Like I was like, oh yo, he's
Yeah.
about to just fucking like the match is going to get stopped, and he's going to have choked him out. Like, and that's really cool because Wato of the past, we would have been like, there's no chance to get one. Remember when fucking Wato versus Okada and he just smoked him in fucking 2 seconds?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, in the was a New Japan Cup or whatever, he's just like, lol.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Nah, bro.
absolutely minced him and rolled, and that's very true to form of where Okada is now. So, yeah, that's awesome. What did you think of this multi-man tag that we had? So it was the 8th match, never openweight 6-man tag team championship match. Ishii, Tanahashi, and Okada versus Shota Umino, Claudio Castagnoli, and Moxley. Apparently, it almost didn't happen. I think Castagnoli's plane was late or something, so they moved this match. This match was originally supposed to be on before Wato and Hiromu.
Yeah, so Castagnoli almost didn't make the venue. Plane got delayed, but he did. They pushed the match back, and I think it's for the better. Really, like when you have a big show like Dominion, you've got like big Western superstars coming over, like John Moxley. You've got your company aces in Tanahashi and Okada. Like maybe this is where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like this was just
It
the
did feel
wrestling
like
gods going, nah,
it
bro.
did feel like a big deal, and I guess like Wato and that would have had a lot to live up to playing after them. Like imagine
Yeah, I think
you have that fucking Okada Danielson announcement, and then you go into like Wato's entrance. You know what I mean? Like it probably worked out for the best.
So I think the funny thing about this match reminded me a lot of like Western style. Like this is a match that
Heaps,
like
yeah.
with the exception of the people that are in it, this is the kind of match you would see on like an AEW Dynamite. Um, you'd see like a 6-man tag that's like just a bunch of fun and like shit happening and like good stuff. The thing that set it up above that is the fact that it was Tanahashi and Okada,
Yeah.
and those the level of competition, like it was cool to see them in a different sort of style match, and bringing their flavor to it with Okada still being dickhead Okada and like working shooters as like much as he possibly could. Can we just for a second sit down and talk about the Blackpool Combat Club? Just 4 absolute fucking workers. Claudio Castagnoli, who can deadlift the fucking world. John Moxley, who's like blood and blood and blood. Wheeler Yoda, who's like trying to become a super badass. And you've got, like he said, the litmus test. Brian Danielson, the American Dragon, the fucking best like technical wrestler in the world right now, behind ZSJ. You've got these 4 dudes who are bad motherfuckers.
Mhm.
And then you've got the absolute Care Bear of Shooter Amino.
Coming out with his like Mr. Tumnus pants on, looking like he's fucking belongs in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
But they will fucking come to his defense. They're like, you don't fuck with our little brother.
You
You
don't
don't fuck
talk
with
about
our little
old
mascot
feather
here.
pants. I was like, when they came out in the crowd, I'm like, for sure, Shooter's going to be in his fight gear, same as those dudes. You know what I mean? He's gonna have the Death Rider jacket on. He's gonna be there with Mox, like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm one of the bad boys. But he was like, as he comes in with his little feather
Giving
pants,
toys to the kids.
Yeah. I know.
Moxley's already bleeding on the way to the ring.
Wearing a Death Jitsu shirt, like, fuck it.
Oh my god,
it was great. But you know what? Be you, Shooter. It's awesome. I like that Mox is like, that's my fucking son you're talking to. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you talk to me or my son ever again.
And I thought this was a great match from Shooter as well. I thought he showed heaps of fire. He wasn't taking any fucking shit. Like, they were throwing hands. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. But that moment when fucking you get Murder Okada, when he gets and he just gets tagged in and he's just got that fucking look on his face and he just slowly gets into the ring. You're like, oh, you fucked up now.
Black Trunks, big dick, I hate children Okada is the fucking best.
It's the best.
It's so good. This is the man who like had his own baby, lost a couple of nights of sleep, and said, I'm gonna murder everyone younger than me.
Everyone was like, Okada's gonna be taking some time off. He's had a baby, there's gonna be maternity leave, he's not gonna keep it. Nah. Same schedule. Don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do more stuff. See it less.
I love that he's so angry dad energy that he's just like,
it's the negative
like, if you are under the age of fucking 29, I will murder you.
Yeah, you're getting fucked. He's like, this fucking baby at home keeps encroaching in on my sleep and everyone else is going to get it.
Yeah, I can't beat up the baby. I'm going to beat up everyone else. I'm going to make the world pay.
Yeah. Dark fucking Hiroki Goto, essentially.
I love that. Oh, he's Dark Hiroki. Oh, he'd be so it's like Great Muda is the dark Keiji Muto, and they had Great Nita was the great was the dark Atsushi Onita. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like, oh, Great Kazu.
Yeah.
Great Kazu.
Yeah.
There we go.
It works. It absolutely works. It was fucking cool. And he murdered Shooter at the end as well. That Rainmaker was fucking he was like, goodbye. And then like when he was pinning him, it was almost like he was making fucking Umino look directly into his son's cold, dead eyes. Like the way he positioned his head, he was just like holding him there as he was like fucking.
And then he, like they pointed out that he just like steps over the fucking fallen body of this child.
Yeah. And, like, and makes the referee fucking hold his hand up. Yeah.
Oh, I love that shit so much. So, awesome. Okay, do you think that we're building to Mox and Okada at Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like the inevitable thing. You know, you're going to do Danielson, which was a great promo video. Really enjoyed that, and I think the world's going to be real happy about it. But I think it'll come back around to Mox and Okada, surely. And then maybe in the end, really, really to Shooter and Okada. Is like the long-term thing where Shooter eventually grows up and becomes enough to take him.
That would be great. Yeah, there was a lot of great story in this match. Mm-hmm. It was a fun Western style match in the middle of a very work-heavy show. Mm-hmm. Nice breath of fresh air. Really, really dug it. I'm glad it was the semi-main because it deserved that spot where it could go 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and it was long. For a tag like that. It did seem to go for like a long time, but it had all the stuff you wanted. It wasn't not entertaining at any point.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the final match of the night, Yota Tsuji, the Space Wolf, the Gene Blaster, sexual Tyrannosaurus, Yota Tsuji
Blasted versus in the genes.
Blast in the genes, sex haver, Yota Tsuji.
Sex haver is what is it? He has it. He's had it. And he's having it. Okay.
Currently. Are you having it? No. Yota Tsuji's having it.
Yeah, he is having
it. It's his.
Yeah, exactly.
versus the 7th IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Sanada. Sonata's second defense, successful after 17 minutes and 1 second with the deadfall DDT, which, the story of the match they kept playing over and over again is Yota Tsuji is a completely unknown quantity. Everything that he's doing is just absolutely showing Sonata like new angles of attack and brand new like weapons that he never thought this young man could have had. But the one thing he knew was Yota Tsuji's spear. The one thing that he knew to look out for was that spear. And ultimately, Yota Tsuji shot himself in the foot by taking out the entire Just Five Guys crew a couple of weeks ago. And now he has lost because of it.
Yeah.
That was a really, really well played story that they were telling in the match. Yota Tsuji was big fucking money. The crowd loved him. The fucking moveset was tight. The look
dope,
was
man.
sick. Yota Tsuji is him, bro.
Yeah. Amy was
Yota Tsuji
watching
is
this
him.
like New Japan has got me back with this motherfucker. She was so into it. She goes to me afterwards. We were talking about it the next day. We were still talking about it. And I go, just everything about him was so dynamic. And she's like, you know who he is? And I'm like, what? And she's like, he's Roman Reigns. And I'm like, he kind of is. And she's just like, but way cooler. And I'm like, I know. And I'm like, and you know what? If Roman Reigns was in New Japan, he'd be the fucking coolest dude there. But he's not. He's in WWE. So this is what we've got. And fucking Yoda from the second he came out was so fucking dope. The fact he's got LEDs in his fucking coat as well is always sick.
That like the fire, like
yeah, like the molten lava kind of fucking look. Yeah. He just looks like an absolute fucking weapon. The music, the presentation, the tassels. Give me more tassels on my wrestlers. He just killed it. Like the smile. And then, but him also like the kind of sweetness of him really wanting LIJ to embrace him. Like he's a fanboy of them, you know what I mean? He wants to impress Naito and he wants them to get around him, you know, even at the start where all the five guys are there, you know, around Sonata. And so Tsuji holds it up and then even Shingo's got to come back from commentary and they all kind of get up there and they slowly, you know, give it to him and shit. And then, you know, he has the whole match to prove it to them and then inevitably doesn't. And then I was like, you motherfuckers better not leave. You know what I mean? And Naito's like, just, you cunts pick him up and they just fuck off. I was like, oh, you cold blooded. I fucking couldn't. I was like, don't leave him there. I was very upset about it. But like they just built, like that's how you build a fucking star, man. It was unbelievable. And he just had like, he had answers for Sonata's shit. You know what I mean? Sonata hits him with the fucking deadfall. He turns into a cartwheel or some shit. Like he'd studied him and he'd done all those things, like you said, except for he had shown his hand because to get his attention, he had to fucking decimate him to even get a title shot. So he had to use that spear. And then that inevitably was the thing that did his undoing. And I like that as well about Sonata because this new Sonata is like somebody who clearly like does his homework and studies his opponents. Like they kept saying they're like the deadfall was almost invented to be a direct counter to the Rainmaker. You know, like that's what he does and he doesn't really use it that often, but people have seen it now. And so the fact that he was then able to incorporate it, get around the spear and then get it off was pretty cool. And you show that Sonata is learning and actively trying. And, you know, maybe he's having those fucking conversations with the other guys and stuff and trying to be better. And you see him being better. And I would say of all of Sonata's matches, this is probably his most impressive that I've ever seen, even though it was like a showcase of Tsuji. He would have been in charge of that. You know what I mean? He would have been leading that match because Tsuji's brand new and back into the company. And that's what I really wanted to see from this new Sonata. Can he float when he doesn't have like an Okada fucking carrying the match, you know? And it's like that is a testament to the fact that he probably can continue this championship run. He's now had the Okada match, the Hiromu match, and the Suji match, and all have been really good. Like you can't knock on that, you know. And I'm like historically one of his biggest detractors, but he's growing and changing, and it's becoming interesting. Do I want him to be champion still, or am I super huge Sonata fan all of a sudden? Not really, but I'm happy to see him fucking grow and the product become better, you know.
And he's doing huge numbers for the Japanese audience. People love him.
Sexily.
They're yeah, he's a good looking dude. Like, man, I mean, we've just got to fucking deal with Sonata supremacy, I guess.
Though talking about Suji again, that moveset is sick. When he did that, like I obviously knew he was going to do, you know, the no hands moonsault out of the ring. You had told me about it. You had seen it live in the UK, and I went and watched that match, and I saw him do it. I was like, that's really impressive. But when he did it in fucking Osaka Joe Hall in front of that crowd, they lost their shit, man.
Yeah, they did.
And it felt like I said earlier in this podcast, had that been Okada as champion, it wouldn't have felt as dangerous. It wouldn't have felt like, oh man, this could be over. You know what I mean? Because it's Sonata and he's on shaky ground, you're like, there could be a new champion. And I was watching it like, is this the next Rainmaker Shock? Like, they even talked about it in the promo video. To be honest, in the promo video when they mentioned it, I was like, oh, maybe it won't happen now because they're directly talking about it. But the fact that just that was even on the table was super refreshing, because there were times when, as much as I love Okada, it was like, unless it's Wrestle Kingdom or whatever, he ain't fucking losing this to Ishii at King of Pro Wrestling, or like to fucking Evil at, you know, whatever, Don Taku, you know, like, you know, that stuff's not going to happen. Whereas Sonata's defenses are like, he could lose this at any point because he's not that
Yeah,
like anointed champion, you know?
that keeps it really fresh. Yeah, like
do.
he's on his way to becoming an ace, but like, and we also know that when people are winning that, when they're crowned champion for the first time, they don't usually have the longest, you know, streaks in them. They'll get one or two defenses and then lose it. So like, there was a, you know, I bet you there was a lot of people who fucking thought that this was gonna be it. Like Suji was gonna win it right away.
I thought he was. Amy was like, they almost fucking had me back. It's just like, these motherfuckers. She's like,
I
they've
was
blown
talking
it now.
all the shit in the world.
Yeah.
I was talking all the shit. I was like, everyone loves Sonata right now. Fucking, he's only gonna be champion for like 3 more days. Don't even worry about it. Like,
I love that. Absolutely love it. Hey, we had another question again from our lovely friend, the Positive Wrestling fan, Michael Redding. He said, Dominion felt like a pre-pandemic show. The crowd pop for Suji was awesome, but do you think he'll try and take Naito's spot as the leader? And so
I don't think he'll try and take that spot. I think he's going to be given that spot soon. Like, I mean, like I said, like Naito, maybe not soon, but I think when Naito's time is up, Naito's going to kind of step towards the back. And like, I do believe that like that is the dude who's going to be the leader of LIJ into the future. 100%.
And so where do you think then that stuff is going with the, you know, the kind of disrespect he was shown by Naito and the rest of LIJ? Do you think it's like, well, we gave you an opportunity to do this, you had to show us something, you lost, keep working at it? Like, I don't think he's out of LIJ. Yeah, I think it's like a hazing thing, right? They're like, oh, well, keep trying, keep learning. And like Sonata even said afterwards, he was like, keep working hard with LIJ and maybe you'll get to face me again, you know, like, and there was almost like a respectful, you know how Okada and Sonata had those kind of interactions? It's like, yeah, sure, you can be my rival. It's like, keep working at it, mate. And then eventually when he kind of got good enough, he was like, where have you been, you bastard? Like, that sort of thing. Like, he's gone, that was pretty fucking good, kid. Keep working at it. I fucking know how hard it has been in that faction, but if you can do it, it'll make you better, and then I'll see you down the road. Like,
yeah, I think there's no way he's out of LIJ. They didn't kick him out. Like, it was just a way for them to like kind of haze him, like you said. I think he's he's super popular. He's going to, sell a million shirts because LIJ merch fucking is king.
Mhm.
And Yoda Tsuji is going to be super popular. You could see like the crowd fucking loved him. There's no way that he's out of LIJ at this point. It was just like, yeah, I chalked it up to hazing at the end.
Yeah. But even that helped him, I think, because like I said, I was feeling sympathy for him. I was like, this dude just fucking come back from excursion, gave this absolute banger, balls to the wall, only just fucking fell short, and these motherfuckers disrespected him. You know what I mean? I was immediately on his side. And I was like, oh, I haven't felt this fucking pumped on a new dude in like a long time. I was like, when I got home a bit earlier today and I was waiting to kind cook and I was sitting with the dog and shit, I started watching that match again and I never rewatched fucking anything. But I was like, I want to hear it from the Japanese commentator's point of view and hear what their reactions are to stuff like as it was coming, and I was enjoying it even watching it that way. So I think there's a testament to be said to both guys to it being like a really fun match with some cool spots. And like you say, when you don't know the dude's offense and he just comes in and he's making waves and looking this way and doing all these things, and then you're watching this match, like I don't know what's gonna fucking happen. And even the commentators like Kevin Kelly and stuff were like, it's not like we can say he's going for this because we just don't know. Like they were making a big deal about him just being a completely unproven, commodity.
And it's so silly because like we saw him. We saw what he was doing against in that match he had against Ishii.
Mm.
Like I sat there and watched it and I fucking ranted about it.
Yeah.
Dude, when I came
Was
back
he
from that
doing
show, I
curb
was like,
stomps in that? I don't remember. I don't remember seeing him do.
I think he did one.
Yeah, he
I
did.
swear he did one.
Mm.
I'll have to watch that match again and just remember being there.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, like fucking he was awesome.
Yeah.
I remember just being like in awe
Yeah.
of what Yoda Tsuji was. And I remember saying like, it's coming. Like Yoda Tsuji's almost ready. Like, and it turns out I was right.
He's so athletic, man, for such like a big
So
dude. It's
good.
really impressive. Like, yeah, really impressive. Can't wait to see what he does in the G1. It's going to be so many
Hell
fun,
yes.
fun lineups with him. It's going to be so cool. But yeah, man, fucking Dominion banger. Dominion's always one of my favorites. And
Anyone who was talking down about fucking Dominion and like that there were people like we saw it on Twitter. There's people who were like, "Oh, Dominion, I don't care about Sonata. Who's Yoda Tsuji?" Blah, blah. Like,
you're not watching it. Yeah.
You're not watching it.
Just don't even talk about it.
Someone's gonna look back in like 20, 25 years. They're gonna look back at that fucking match and they're gonna be like, "I've discovered a hidden gem." And it's like, no, fucking bro, like this is already great.
This is it.
This is already
This
great.
is it, homie. Yeah, absolutely. It was super dope. Well, we are getting towards the end of our night. It's midnight, and I must be asleep as I need to get up at 5 a.m.
Oof.
Do you want to so fast, but just because it happened, but we'll save our thoughts on it. Do you want to just run through the listing for G1 just to give it an overall quick initial thoughts?
Let's not go through the list. We'll save that for next time. Just give me one new person you're excited to see in the G1 and one storyline you're looking forward to in the G1.
Okay, so I can tell you how I found out about him. So I said I tuned in a little bit later, like by the time I could watch it was the ELP thing. And then while I was watching that, Amy was like, yo, there's some crazy names on this G1 announcements. And I'm like, who you got? Because I knew it had happened. She goes, well, here are 4 of the new people that have never been in before. And she shows me Eddie Kingston, Kaito Kiyomiya, fucking, who was it? Hikuleo, and who was the other guy on the thing? It was a big one. Oh no, I can't remember who it was.
Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols are both in.
It wasn't them though. It was another singles dude. I forget. Anyway, those are the ones anyway. Kiyomiya, like fuck yeah, that is absolutely crazy. And that's a storyline that I want to be all about, which is essentially Kaito Kiyomiya's fucking quest for Okada. You know what I mean? Quest for
Yup.
fucking redemption is what I'm going to be about. When those two meet again, that is going to be absolutely fucking ballistic. And you heard the crowd when both of those names were announced. You heard roars from the fucking crowd. When they pulled up that Eddie Kingston graphic, Jesus Christ, the place came unglued.
Oh, they fucking went nasty, dude. They were like, yeah.
But then they said Kiyomiya, and it was fucking
Oh, I love that
over.
it popped up with the like Street Fighter, like, we have a new challenger, and then it
Yeah.
was Kiyomiya. Jeez, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about
not.
okay? I'll go through the people who have not been in it before.
Yeah, please.
Shota Umino,
Mm-hmm.
Hikuleo,
Mm-hmm.
going through the list. Eddie Kingston,
Mm-hmm.
Ren Narita,
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, Yoda Tsuji, and Kaito Kiyomiya.
It was Yoda Tsuji. That's what it was. I was just not thinking of him because we were just talking about him. But the graphic was those guys. It was like Eddie at the top, Kiyomiya and Tsuji on the same line, and then Hikuleo below. And I was like, yo, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking absolutely sick. I think the person whose debut I'm looking forward to most, I love Alex Coughlin. I love Alex Coughlin, and I want to see him fucking tear shit up. I love Eddie Kingston, and I want to see him fucking just like his match that he had against Gabe on Strong a couple of months ago was fucking great. I'd love to see him bring some of that King's Road style. I'm gonna go a little bit out though. I'm gonna say the person whose debut I'm looking forward to most is Ren Narita.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's a good call.
Oh god, I want to say Yoda Tsuji though.
Yoda Tsuji would be fucking cool that too.
God, he's so good. But like, I think Ren Narita is gonna have a fucking killer tournament. So, yeah, let's either of those would be great. Okay, and what storyline do you think you're looking forward to most heading into the G1?
I think it's still the Kiyomiya one. That was such a fucking cool arc. It's either Kiyomiya or yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say Kiyomiya's story and his rivalry with Okada.
I think mine is also Okada, but I think I want to see Okada in a block with every person under 30.
Yeah,
and just watch Okada
versus the babies. Yeah,
fuck them kids. That would be fucking fantastic.
That would be.
But yes,
and I mean, like there's quite a few to follow here. I mean, obviously Ospreay got to be a favorite to be doing really well in this tournament. For sure,
might actually be U.S. champion by then.
Yeah, exactly right. Might be US champion and heading towards the world championship. See, everybody was like, he wants to avenge his losses against fucking Kenny and Okada. And everybody thinks that, like, how could he do that with both belts or whatever? Okada don't have the world title anymore. So he could still get the win over him and not end up champion, you know? So these are the things. But we're not going to break all these down. There's a lot here, and I feel like we could do half an episode, nearly a full episode, going through each dude, doing our best and worst cases on every scenario.
That'll be next time.
Yeah, exactly. There's some people I'm really looking forward to seeing them make an impact.
Well, right now I want to go ahead and tell everybody thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. And if you enjoy our particular brand of whimsy and you'd like to hear more dick and fart jokes for free, you can check out the Faces and Feels cast. You can check out Throw and Dice Pod. Those are our other shows, our brother shows and sister shows. And then there's our sister shows, Hot Friends, the Count Out Podcasting Network. You can check out all of our friends on the Count Out Podcasting Network and the Patreon for Count Out Pod, which is all that money's going towards helping a bunch of cool podcasters do a bunch of cool podcast things. And if you're already a member of the Count Out Podcasting Network, Patreon, you know that we've got our show Drop Your Shorts on there. We went through and talked today about the Tournament of Survival 8 that we watched together. My first deathmatch tournament. We went through and broke that down a little bit. My favorite highs and lows from the tournament, and Rafe's opinion as a person who is deep within the realm of deathmatch. You can listen to that if you'd like. There's also other shows like Ryan Hasn't Seen Anything and other things like that. Great stuff, great content for you for just a couple of bucks every month. But we love you and we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Even if you can't, if you don't have the money to give us money, not everyone has the money it takes to give us money. And if you don't, you can support us by sharing the show, giving us a rating, 5 stars, 10 stars, 40 stars in the Tokyo Dome, whatever you can give us, sharing with your friends, and liking and subscribing, all the things that help feed the content machine, to feed the algorithm. We love you and we appreciate you. We think that you have beautiful genitalia and that you definitely are the smartest in your friend groups.
We do think that. Thank you for listening to the entire episode. We hope you enjoyed all the talks about all the exciting things that happen, all the excitement, all the debuts. And speaking of debuts, if you wanted your computer to debut a new level of security and also the ability to change your internet location at whim in the way that like Yoda Suji could change from the UK to Japan to Mexico, then back to Japan, you can do that yourself with the power of NordVPN. So make sure you check out nordvpn.com/what?
Shorts. You grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/shorts. You get a huge discount off of your NordVPN plan plus 1 additional month for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. If you want to supercharge, if you want to gene blast your social media and your streaming services and your security, that's how you do it. nordvpn.com/shorts.
Exactly. Blast your genes full of security thanks to nordvpn.com/shorts. Make sure you check out Curtis's dope show, Throwing Dice Pod. Hear him talk about wargaming, hear him talk about painting miniatures, hear him talk about fun things. If you want to hear me talk to wrestlers about their lives and the crazy things they do, if you enjoyed the idea of us talking about Tournament of Survival, I've got heaps of interviews with deathmatch wrestlers, some of the most interesting people in the world. That said, my very next interview that's dropping will be with none other than New Japan Pro Wrestling's the United Empire's own Ultimate Weapon, Aaron Hanare. That'll be out in the next few days. So I'm going to get that one up, get that one popping, and we'll have more exciting content coming for you guys down the line. So Curtis, you know what we got to do, right?
We got to keep it right.
Yeah, we got to keep it time.
That's right.
We're
going to rate and subscribe. We're going to listen or die.
We are going to do that. And what else are we going to do? We're going to keep it what?
Short.
This has been a Countout Podcast. Countout provides a wide variety of bonus content that is right at your fingertips. On the Countout Patreon, our podcasts are creating bonus content exclusively for you, their listener. For only $5 a month, you can watch instant reactions to major shows, watch-alongs, early access to main feed podcasts, some fun goof and gag audio, plus shows from some of the podcasters' outside interests. It's the best way to experience all that the Countout Network has to offer. So head on down to patreon.com/countout to take part in some of the best and most fun content wrestling has to offer. Again, that is patreon.com/countout.